Hi, how you guys doing? So I want to make a video about this like discussion I was having over my Facebook group. Basically, the discussion started with this person putting this post basically comparing the amount of coaches that are white to the coaches that are black. I think they did like the history or present time. They did a little bit of both, trying to make the point that black people are being discriminated in the coaching ranks or whatever. So I responded saying, "Look, dude, I told the guy, I said, when you're running a business, you shouldn't be worried. The last thing you should be worried about is diversity. You should be worried about getting the best people based on the most skillful people that'll fit the things that you need done in your business. You shouldn't be worried about what color they are. You should be worried about who could get the job done," basically what I was trying to say. And guys challenging me like, "Oh, do you have a business?" Which I don't. So if I don't, okay, you want to judge me off that, that's fine. But then I challenged him back and I said, okay, well, why don't you ask all the successful business owners that you know, what are they looking for? Are they looking for the best people to fill in their jobs, or are they looking to fill in a certain quota where they're like making sure white people are represented, or making sure black people are represented, making sure Hispanic people are represented, or are they just trying to find the best guys? Why don't you ask them? So I think businesses start getting into the whole diversity thing once they're actually successful, once the base is built up, once the basic business plan is basically in place, or the business model is already in place. And so for political reasons, they're like, okay, yeah, we have to address diversity, make sure that we're represented by a certain amount of people. We have the right men-women ratio, we have the right race mixture. But when you're not known and when you're up and coming, you're just trying to get the best people. And so then another person challenges me and says, "Oh, so the best people who are coaching in the league now is white, right? That's what you're trying to say?" Trying to make it seem like I was trying to say that, which that's not what I was trying to say. All I was trying to say was just get the best people. I don't care what color they are. If your whole staff is black and they're winning, that's what you're supposed to do. If your whole staff is white and winning, that's what you're supposed to do. But then I actually kind of thought about it. I thought about what he said. And I said, no, again, because that's not what I was thinking at the time. I wasn't trying to make it racial. I was just trying to say, get the best people, period. But if you want to make a comparison, as far as coaches, successful coaches that we've seen, yes, white people have been better than black people in the coaching ranks, especially if we're talking NFL. And I really thought about it. I was like, who are the best black coaches that ever coached? Obviously, the first one for me would be Tony Dungy. Dennis Green was good. And obviously, Mike Tomlin has been successful for the last 15 years with a Super Bowl and never had a losing record. So those are the top three that I can think of as far as the best black coaches that have done well. But do those people compare to Belichick, Parcells, Joe Gibbs, Jimmy Johnson, Bill Walsh, Tom Landry, Vince Lombardi, Tom Coughlin, Andy Reid, Mike Holmgren? Do any of those people compare to those guys? I mean, you could probably put Tony Dungy and Mike Tomlin in the back end of that list. Either one of those is Tony Dungy and Mike Tomlin a top 10 coach in the league ever? Top 10 coach of all time? Based on the guys that I've just named, I would probably say no. Mike Shanahan again, 2 Super Bowls. I mean, again, I'm just like trying to see, like, again, and I have no problem with Tony Dungy is honestly one of my favorite coaches of all time, to be honest with you. Mike Tomlin, I don't really like the Steelers, but I mean, again, you can't argue results. The man's been doing this thing for the last 15 years. It was a great hire. He's won. He's consistently been in the playoffs. They've consistently been a Super Bowl threat. They went to 2 Super Bowls. They lost 1. They won 1. So he's a great coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach. You can't argue that. But if you want to say, if you want to break it down to a race thing, which is stupid, but if you want to break it down to a race thing, who's been better? The white coaches have clearly been better. Just like how in football, the receivers are the black people have dominated that position group. Corners, the black people have dominated that position group. Safeties, black people have dominated that position group. Running backs, defensive ends, they've pretty much been dominated by black people. Are we trying to find diversity? Like, oh my gosh, we have too many black DNs. We need more white DNs for diversity. It's not a diverse enough team. No, I just want the best damn guy that can get to the quarterback. Oh, we need more white receivers. We need more white corners. No, we don't do stuff like that. We don't. So therefore, in my opinion, we shouldn't be like, oh, well, we need to get more black head coaches in there. No, the black coaches have to prove that they can coach. And again, the guy and that got to my next point, which was okay. Which dominant offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator in the NFL is not getting looked at? And the obvious answer is Eric Bieniemy. Okay, so why isn't Eric Bieniemy getting a job? Because he's been on the Kansas City Chiefs and that offense has been killing it. He's been the offensive coordinator, okay? And now I'll even give the people who fight for Bieniemy this. Because they just hired the Minnesota coach. I can't remember his name, the offensive coordinator for the Rams. I think it's Kevin O'Connell. I think that's his name. And he doesn't call the plays. Sean McVay calls the plays, but he's the offensive coordinator. So you really can't use that excuse for Bieniemy either. Okay? So, okay, that's fine. That is no longer on the table. Play calling, that's no longer on the table. That's no longer an excuse to not hire Bieniemy. But once again, I challenge my friend who wants to see as many black coaches as he can, I guess. Ryan Poles, and I posted this in my last video, but it's an important point. Came from Kansas City and went to the Bears job to become the new GM, a black man. Okay? Came from Kansas City. He worked with Bieniemy. He knows Bieniemy. He knows what type of coach he is. He goes to the Bears as the GM. He needs a new head coach. He's in charge of the hiring process. The coach is on him. So if Eric Bieniemy was really as special as people thought he was, this guy's not white. He's black. He came from the same organization as him. He knows what he can do. He knows, if anybody knows what Eric Bieniemy can do as a coach, it is a man from the same organization in Ryan Poles. And yet, he did not just give him the job. He didn't give him an interview. A black man did not give this guy an interview. Okay? So, where is the racism in that? How is that not a red flag to make me say, hold up. Okay, I thought there was something funny going on, but now we have a brother in the front office of a major NFL job, and this man is not even giving him an interview. Something is wrong here. Okay? Something is wrong here. Okay? Now, my personal opinion, I don't think he's going to get the job, or if people are hesitant to give him the job, I think it's because of his criminal past. Not to mention he's done some shady stuff with Colorado where he was involved in a sex ring like Rick Pitino, where he was basically, the university was accused of paying players, paying women to sleep with players to get them to come to the university. He also has assaults on men and assaults on women. He was charged with choking a woman and threatening her. And obviously the NFL, you want the NFL to be against or you want the NFL to take a stand against domestic violence? Does that look good, hiring a coach that has been arrested and charged with domestic violence? I mean, the offensive coordinator doesn't get a lot of attention, but the head coach does. And when you're the head man, you're the face of the franchise, it might not be a great look there. But I'm just saying, and of course, some people will say, or some people have said, okay, Bob Kraft, he was involved in prostitution. Jim Irsay, drinking and driving. Yes, that's true. Okay. They are the owners, though. That is the difference. Okay? So, as the owners, they did what they did. Now, the fans have to make a decision. Do I want to be a part of the product that they own? Do I want to get myself involved with the product that they own based on their discretions? And obviously, the fans have said, I don't care. Okay? So, they are there, but the fans seem to care more about when the coaches do it, when the players do it, because that's when they get all upset. The owners are kind of in the background. They're just there to provide whatever. You want to say that's wrong? That's fine. I would say that's inconsistent too. But when you own the team, it's different. That's how it is. I mean, unless, like I said, you want to take a stand and say, this guy's involved in this, or prostitution, want to say, I don't want to support the Colts, I don't want to support the Patriots, that's your decision to make. But when you're saying that, but a coach who is not just, a coach is not just a person who is teaching people football. He's supposed to be a leader, and he is supposed to be somewhat of a mentor to young men. And it's tough to do that when you basically have been doing the same things bad that you're teaching them not to do. So that could be a big, big part of it. And I think that's a very big part of it. And that's something that people don't want to hear, but I think that's a very big part of it. Okay? Another issue that I have, and my soup is getting cold. I'm doing this video, is that the Texans just hired Lovie Smith, a black man. And he has had success in the NFL with the Bears for a very long time. So I want to give him that credit. Okay? But you're hiring him not off what he did with the Bears. You're hiring him off what he did with Illinois, because that was the last time he was a head coach. And he was 17-39. Now, personally for me, I thought one of the worst hirings was Cliff Kingsbury, who was a sub 500 coach in college. So I never really understood the logic of making him the head coach. In fairness to him, he's done decently well in the pros, but I never thought he had earned the right to get a job like that when he was a really bad college or subpar college coach. But if I'm going to say that about Cliff Kingsbury, then I have to be consistent with Lovie Smith. This guy, at least Kingsbury was like a 500 coach. Lovie Smith was 17-39 at Illinois. 17 wins and 39 losses. And yet he goes to be a defensive coordinator job for the Texans, and all of a sudden he gets the head coach. That's the best you can do? I think the game has clearly passed him by. You can't win. You were an NFL head coach and you can't win. You can't even be 500 in college. Nah, if you're just being consistent on the merits, you have to have a problem with that. But you won't have. But the people who support this, let's get every minority a job that they can in the NFL, will never point that out. They'll just be like, we're just so happy that Lovie got a job. But let's be consistent. He probably did not deserve that job. And yet people won't bring that up on the merits. And third, Byron Leftwich. The Jaguars were basically begging him to get the job, take the job. They were basically begging him to take the job. He came off Tampa. He won a Super Bowl with Brady. He's a hot commodity. I mean, I don't understand personally how you're like this big deal because you won a Super Bowl with Brady. That's literally the same thing that people had with Josh McDaniels. But yet, you think that Byron Leftwich is like this next coming because he won a Super Bowl with Brady. Okay, fine. Whatever. He's the hot name. People want him. No problem. Okay, Jacksonville wants him. Cool. Yet, when the job is his, what does he do? He starts making all these demands like, I don't want to work with your general manager. I want to work with a different general manager. I want to do this. I want to do that or whatever. So, okay, they are giving you the job. They're basically like, dude, we want you to lead this team. But we want you to just work with this guy, please. You know, this guy's had some success in San Francisco. He helped Jim Harbaugh get to a Super Bowl. We have a good working relationship with him. But we want you to be the guy. We believe in you. And you tell them no. So don't tell them. So don't tell me. Okay, so good. You don't. No problem. You don't want the Jacksonville job. That's your right. No problem. You don't want it. You don't think it's the right fit. Cool. Okay, no problem. Right. Yet the situation that you said was just so toxic was good enough for Doug Peterson. Okay, a coach who won a Super Bowl, not some guy who didn't win a Super Bowl like Leftwich. A guy that actually did something in this league and won a Super Bowl. And he did it with Nick Foles. So he sees Trevor Lawrence and like, oh, yeah, I'll sign up, sure, no problem. Trevor Lawrence, Nick Foles, yeah, I think I could make this work. Right? Okay, so Doug Peterson now has this job. Now, mind you, Byron Leftwich is going to go back now to Tampa. Tom Brady has retired. So chances are you're probably not going to be as good as you were with Tom Brady because Tom Brady is a decent NFL quarterback, right? Yeah, he's pretty good, right? Okay. So when your performance falls off, don't cry about, I didn't get the job I wanted. Well, somebody offered you the job. You didn't want it. Now you got to go back as an OC. And if your performance falls off and people say, I'm not too sure about Byron Leftwich, that's not racism, bro. That's you trying to bet on yourself, thinking that you're going to get this better job. And if you win, great. And if you lose, you can't cry about it, bro. You can't cry about it. Then, again, I'm going to end it with Brian Flores, who, again, Lovie Smith just got that job. Again, the man is suing the league, saying that minority candidates aren't getting a fair shake at the job. Yet, today, he came out with a statement saying that if I had not sued the league, I would probably be the next head coach of the Houston Texans. So wait, hold up. Or you were top 3 and I probably would have been the coach of the Houston Texans. Okay, so hold up. You're suing the league. Saying that we're not getting a fair shake. But then at the same time, you're saying that if I had not filed this lawsuit, I would have been the Texans head coach. Can you explain that to me, please? How does that make sense? So you were hired by the Dolphins already. And then you would have gotten a Texans job, yet the league is racially discriminating against you. No, they're not. You need to grow up, bro. You're the same age as me. You're way more successful as me. You would have kept on making crazy cash. They would have gave you the job. People liked you, dude. And yet you wanted to be political. You were upset that you didn't get the job that you wanted. You wanted the Giants job. That's why you filed this lawsuit, out of spite, in my opinion. That's why you did what you did. And now it's biting you in the behind. And you're, I guess, starting to realize that this wasn't necessary. So, yeah, man, I can't feel bad for you, bro. Like, you wanted to do this. You wanted to, start this movement, this revolution. There was no revolution to start, dude. You just have to prove that you're good and they'll hire you. Eric Bieniemy has a criminal record. You don't. You were good. You were good, dude. Excuse me. I'm sorry, dude. I can't feel bad for you, bro. Like, I can't. I don't think the NFL is discriminating against. I think in 2022, you get points for hiring minority coaches. They just want the best people. Just like most of the wide receivers are black. Just like most of the corners are black. Just like most of the defensive ends are black. Just like most of the running backs are black. Because they just want the best people. That's it. If they differ on an opinion on somebody who is better, that's the nuance of the game. It's an art. It's not a science. I didn't think Cliff Kingsbury would have been a great coach. And I still don't think he's a great coach. But he's been winning. So I could say all I want about him, but once they actually have a chance to prove it on the field, like I said, if Lovie Smith starts winning with the Texans, I got to eat crow because I don't think it's a good hire. But if he starts winning, I got to say, oh, I was wrong. Okay? So that's just how the game goes. You take the chance on who you consider to be the best. But I don't think a GM who's been fighting his whole life or an owner who's been investing in this team or millions of dollars in the team is picking people just to lose. Winning gets money, and accolades and fame. Why would you pick people to try to lose? That don't make no sense. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. I think I got everything out I wanted to get. I thank you guys for listening. Appreciate, anybody who takes the time to listen to my channel. It's a very small channel right now. I'm trying to build it up a little bit. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for listening to what I got to say. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.